How do you intend to fix the lack of bipartisan activity in the State House of Representatives, ensuring that what gets done is best for Michigan residents?
I intend to represent the residents of our district in a professional manner. I taught insurance for many years, and I'm a licensed insurance broker and agent. And one of the things that we teach in insurance is that you put the client's interest above your own. And we also teach that you understand your client's needs. And I think being a legislator is very similar to that. I'm going to represent the constituents. I'm going to understand their needs. And hopefully that'll be able to represent them in a bipartisan manner. We need to advocate legislation that will create jobs and drive our economy. That's our biggest need right now. And I'm the candidate with experience in building jobs and working in economic development.
Ms. Hovey-Wright, same question. How do you intend to fix the lack of bipartisan activity in the State House of Representatives, ensuring that what gets done is best for Michigan residents?
I will be part, I hope to be part of the freshman class in the House as the 92nd representative. The freshmen that are there now, the freshman representatives who are there now, have begun to work on a more partisan basis. And I have met with them, talked with them about how it's done. And I intend to be part of a new freshman class. I hope to be part of a new freshman class that will also reach across the aisle. And I was surprised to learn, I've been getting the weekly review of all the legislation that is coming, that is being passed. And by far the majority of the bills that have been passed are supported by both sides, have bipartisan support. So there's more than you think, more than we hear about and read about in the paper. But I still think that there's a lot of opportunity for improvement. I plan to be part of that. I've always been one, I'm a social worker by trade, I've always been one who knew how to listen and make eye contact and hear people's problems and hear the other side. I do like conflict management, you have to do that there too. I think I have a lot of good experience in that area. And I'm committed to do what's right for the district, not what is political.
Okay, thank you very much.
Ms. Hovey-Wright, roads in our state are in desperate need of repair. The funding mechanism for roads seems to be broken. We constantly are close to losing federal funds that are attached to state matching dollars. How should this get fixed? How should we ensure adequate funding gets to the local road commission?
All the travel that I've done around the district, I have seen examples, plenty of them, of really bad condition roads. So there's no question in my mind that this is a very important issue. Number one, we need to make sure that we get 100% of what we put in. Now we get 92%. So let's make sure we get all of what we put in, first of all. You know, you can't build roads without money, and I know nobody likes to hear this, but I think we're going to have to look at ways to increase the revenue for roads. I've had a 2-hour meeting with Mr. Hulka to find out what his solutions were or what his ideas are on this, because obviously it's a problem. You know, the taxes that the gas taxes that we pay in Michigan are lower than most of the states around us, but most of them. I think we need to look at that. But adjusting the gas tax is a short-term fix as we use more fuel-efficient cars and electric cars, etc. We're going to use less gas, so we need another kind of more long-term fix. And that would be to look at toll roads. And they'd probably be on the other side of the state, so we don't have to worry so much, right? You know, because they'd be at borders. We're not a pass-through state, so that we don't have the same kind of opportunity that Massachusetts or Ohio or those states do. But we need to look at that down the road.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Same question to you.
Okay, I'm going to disagree with my opponent on this one. I don't think the answer is more gas tax or more diesel tax. I don't think the answer is toll roads. I think the answer is to fix our economy. An economy that has been driven to the brink of exhaustion by programs that aren't working. So I think first we need to address the main problem here, which is the economy. A strong economy will fund infrastructure projects. Taxing our citizens when they may be facing a bankruptcy right now, a foreclosure, or a layoff is not the answer. I'm sorry. The answer is to build a strong economy.
Mr. McNally, how do you intend to ensure that jobs are forthcoming for many unemployed Michigan workers? And how do you intend to get business to expand or come to our state?
Okay, well, let's look at what's not working. The current administration, the Granholm, Obama administration, and now the plan of my opponent, is something which is called economic hunting. Economic hunting is essentially paying businesses to set up shop in our community, a business that might not be a proper fit. I propose something different, which is called economic farming, where instead of swinging for the fence and trying to hit a home run and passing those costs on to our existing businesses and residents, that we build up from within our own community, that we grow the business organically here. And the way we do that is we create a level playing field, we reduce our costs, our taxes, and we grow from within by seeding an entrepreneurial-driven economy and by expanding our existing businesses.
Thank you.
Ms. Hovey-Wright, same question. How do you intend to ensure that jobs are forthcoming for our many unemployed Michigan workers? And how do you intend to get business to expand or come to our state?
I strongly believe that Western Michigan, and Muskegon in particular, has the opportunity for becoming a hub for green energy jobs. We have a deep water port. We have Merrick for research. We have the colleges for training. We have unemployed, very skilled workers that can be retrained. We have wind. We have all the pieces. What we need is an energetic person with a lot of perseverance to make that happen. That's me. People who know me to be a very hard worker with a lot of energy and never giving up. I did that to fight cancer, and I'll do that to get jobs in Michigan, in Muskegon. I think we need to strengthen the MEDC, Michigan Economic Development Corporation. My opponent wants to eliminate the MEDC. And there are problems with MEDC, but I don't think we should throw out the baby with the bathwater. In 2 weeks, there will be a report coming out where all of the programs of MEDC have been evaluated and recommendations for making them better. I know small business is not getting what they want from MEDC. We need to fix that. Small business, as my opponent says, is where growth comes. We need to provide opportunities for our current business to diversify, and we can do that with the help of MEDC. Reform business tax, I think, is also a given. We need to be a more tax-friendly state in terms of business, but they have to pay their fair share too.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Hovey-Wright, school funding is always a hot topic. What is your answer to how we get the best education?
I've been a school social worker for 12 years. I've seen about 10 years of cuts. My job was one of them 5 years ago. Services to kids that need it the most, that need help getting, passed or help passing tests, etc. Programs that help those kids are the ones that are gone. The class size has gotten huge. We need to restructure the way we fund our schools. It needs to be more fair. It needs to be more stable, and it needs to be enough. And it's not any of those right now. Proposal A has not been successful in solving those problems. We need to provide incentives for best practices. We need to, and incentives for shared services. A lot can be done to cut costs by sharing some of the administrative services. I know that consolidation has been recommended by several. That's a politically very difficult, if not impossible, to do. when our economy starts to get better, I think we need to refund preschool programs and the Michigan Promise. Michigan Promise has been key to providing educated young people in our state, and that's where our growth, our economic growth is going to come from. We've got to have people who are trained and educated in some of the technical fields and fields of growth.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. President, question, school funding, what is your answer to how we get the best education for our children?
I had the privilege of building a technical recruiting and engineering consulting firm. As part of that company, I worked with some of the best technology companies in the world. My customers included companies like Apple Computer, Microsoft, Intel, Adobe. We found the best engineers in the world to design their products. Michigan technical professionals were highly sought after for their education, for their work ethic, and for their experience. I would like to thank all the educators out there and the stakeholders, the parents, for building a world-class education system without a lot of resources. I see the problem as one of retention and funding. It's not enough to have a world-class education system. We need to create opportunity for our residents once they graduate. Let's fix the problem and create a legislative environment which encourages private sector economic growth and entrepreneurial risk-taking. Let's give our students a light at the end of the tunnel. This is the sustainable economic funding solution, a strong economy.
Okay, thank you.
Final question, we'll start with Mr. McNally. Why are you the best candidate for the 92nd District State Representative?
When Ben Franklin had a tough decision to make, he used to draw a line down the middle of the paper and write the pros on one side and the cons on the other side. My opponent in this race has worked as a social worker, a therapist, and she managed the local office for the nation's largest birth control and abortion provider, and an organization that is currently subject to a whistleblower lawsuit for allegedly overbilling the taxpayers for millions of dollars. I've worked as an entrepreneur in advanced technology, insurance, and real estate. I've created and filled high-paying technology jobs. My opponent's plan subsidizes companies with your money to build goods and services that would otherwise not make economic sense. This plan has been called economic hunting or trickle-down government. You take the risk and the contributors get the reward. My plan builds the environment for sustainable growth in the private sector. It creates a level playing field with a competitive tax structure which encourages growth for existing businesses and entrepreneurial risk-taking. My opponent has accepted thousands of dollars in special interest money. My opponent's skills will come in handy if we continue down our current path. We may all need therapy. I intend to get us back on the track to prosperity. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Hovey-Wright, same question. Why are you the best candidate for the 92nd District?
Several reasons. First of all, I'd like to correct a misstatement of my opponent. I was director of Planned Parenthood for 5 years. But we did not have an abortion clinic. I spent 5 years of my life trying to prevent the need for abortion. So just to set the record straight. I have 2 master's degrees, one in social work and one in management from Aquinas College, social work from the University of Michigan. I have 12 years experience in the field of education, 12 years as a healthcare administrator, and 12 years in mental health. Broad experience to bring to Lansing. And, many of those fields, or several of those fields, are very useful. My personal characteristics, everybody knows me as a hard worker, somebody who never gives up, and I'm well respected as a leader in this community. Currently, I'm president of Nelson Neighborhood Improvement Association. I was the treasurer of our church. I managed the budget of our church, managed the budget of Planned Parenthood, and it was always a balanced budget, or close, very close. My My agenda is about service. I started as a Peace Corps volunteer in West Africa in 1968, and my whole life has been about service, both in my career and my personal life. I didn't just decide at the last minute to enter this race, as my opponent has. I worked for this job for a year and a half, well, a year and 3 months. I filed a year ago June. So my whole energy will be focused on bringing jobs to Western Michigan.
Thank you. Okay, let's give these folks a nice round of applause.